Wow, I wasn't prepared for this. So, hi everybody. Does anyone have any questions? Because I'd happily answer some questions about, like, if you want to know about me or why I'm here or anything. Yes.
Yeah, I do. I want to know about you.
Okay. Who is that? Nathan, was it?
That's me. That was Nate. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm from Australia, and I found out about this path maybe in like 2008, 9, 10, around there. And how I found out about this path was going back another 10 years. Actually, I met some people interested in spirituality, and they were teaching me different types of yoga. And like, they weren't masters, but they had experience and could guide me along. But anyway, one day I was walking from my school back to home, and I used to walk past the train station. There was a secondhand bookshop, so I walked past it every day. And one day, this voice inside me said, "There's something in there for you." So, and it was really like a warm, loving voice, and it had a strong pull. So I just went into this shop, and like, I've been in there before, but I just okay, I'm just gonna feel where I'm getting pulled. And it's like this pull to the back of the shop, and that was where they had their like classics and philosophy and spirituality, religion there. And I was just like scanning all the ends of the books on the shelf. I wasn't like reading titles, but I was just like running my eyes kind of blankly. And then this one book is like a lightning bolt. I'm not really, but it's just this one. And I pulled out this book, Science of the Soul by Jagat Singh. And it's like, wow. So I bought it. It was like $5 or something, $10. And previously, as I said, I've been introduced to a lot of different paths, but this one was just like, wow, this is just speaking to me. So I probably took, like, I just, when I was reading it, like even just reading a paragraph or so, it was just, I had to stop and like go in to make sense what was happening, because it was just so familiar. So I probably took a couple of years to read that book, just reading like a paragraph at a time and getting on with life, study, work. And always, like, the book, all my other research, Path of the Masters, was always mentioned. So I found a secondhand copy from the United States, and I ordered it, and I read that, and the message in that book was having a living master, meeting a living master. And I was like, in Australia, like, there's nothing. Like, I mean, there are some other things, but yeah, this path. So I didn't know then. I ended up going to Sweden for a holiday, and the first week I was there, I just Googled Surat Shabd Yoga, and Mr. Puri's video popped up, and it was like a kind of guided meditation video. So I started like following what he was saying. I was like, wow, this is this is like incredible. This is like, for me, it was just, well, really like, this is it. And then I Googled him and his website, and it's like, wow, he's going to be in London next week. This is an Australian guy in Sweden for the first time. And he's an Indian man from living in America, and he's going to be in London. It's like all these kind of synchronistic things were lining up. And it's okay. So I researched about going, but I ended up not going, and which I regret. So a year passed, and I think I watched his videos every day on YouTube. Like, I was just drawn to Mr. Puri, and I love him. And had another opportunity a year later to go to Sweden, and then it was announced that he was going to be in Sweden at the same time. So I was like, wow, this is going to happen this time. So I made the arrangements to be in Stockholm, where he was at that time, and I went to the satsang there. And when he, like, I was sitting in this little hall, and when he walked in, wow, it's like, I can't describe it, but he something in me changed. And I put my name down for interview. I didn't know he was a master. He didn't advertise he was doing initiation or anything like that, but I just wanted to see him and meet him. And when I saw him, actually take it back a step, while I was waiting for my interview, the gentleman in front of me, his friends were initiated by Mr. Puri, and they were telling him, just ask for initiation, just whatever you do. And the gentleman in front of me was quite nervous about meeting him, and they were just like, look, just be calm, just all you got to do is ask for initiation. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take note of that. So anyway, when I went to see him, I saw his eyes, and for me it was like, I just knew those eyes had seen everything, like all the creation I could see reflected in his eyes. And it was and then he played a few games with me, like, so trying to like trick me and all this, like, why are you here, all this kind of stuff. But I did ask him for initiation, and he played some more games. But anyway, he said, look, when I went to Sweden, I didn't know, but he said, when I was there, so I'm actually going to Australia in 3 months' time, so I'm going to see you there. And so that was how I came onto this path. So that was in 2014.
Cool.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and since then, Mr. Puri, he came to Australia in 2019, and we hosted him, and we had a 3-day event on the Gold Coast in Australia. And I was very fortunate to be able to spend some time with him alone, like privately, like driving the car, taking him where he wanted to go, for lunch, for dinner. And it was, and just to see him as like a friend, like a friend first, master second. Like, he was always so loving and caring, and like he was so like interested in everything. Like we'd be driving and he said, oh, there's a vegetarian restaurant. I'd say, yeah, that's good, got nice Chinese food and stuff like that. Like, it was very always very loving. And this is Lena, she's hiding, but she's my partner. And yeah, okay. Is
Thank you, Nick. That was beautiful to share.
Thank you, Nick. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh,
Thank you,
We
Nick.
all listen. Anyone else would like to share a story? You're a brave man, Nick. Most people, they're afraid, kind of. You know, there's this way of thinking. Master speaks about when your cup is full, overflowing, you can share stories. Many of us may be afraid to share a story because we're afraid to share some spiritual secrets. what if I say something and then I won't get into heaven? So many of us become very cautious about that. There's a reason. Let me tell you why the reason the next satsang. Thank you, Nick. I knew they were brave satsangis here. So let me address some of these questions I have here. I have quite a few questions. Now, these questions, these are actually real questions from Ishwar Puri, Sanman, and so forth. These are not like I'm writing them or making these questions. I have enough things to deal with. Like on Bandara, when we had on the 2nd April of Bandara, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the
Beautiful
the
sky.
beautiful. Maybe we should show them. You want to show them? No, it's a beautiful sunset. The mountains, we have like a red mountains, and this incredible. Looks like a coastal region. So I have many questions, and also I spoke to quite a few people privately about many different aspects of Sadmat. But I like to pick up some of these questions. So I have 2 questions here right away. The first question is, I'm reading, who is Ishvar's Ishvar G's successor? That's a question. I normally address my master, Mr. Puri. I never call him Ishvar or anything like that, since I was not sitting with Mr. Puri in the 2nd grade on the same bench, attending the class in Punjab or somewhere. So how many people call him Ishvar or this and that? I don't do this. If you want to call, you can call him Maharaj, Maharaji, or Perfect Living Master, or Ishvar Puriji. But anyway, I'm not mean to criticize, but I'm running into a lot of these people addressing him, even from organization. So this is one question I have. The other question, we have some people from China. So let me address that one first. You can relax, it's not gonna be like, I'm not trying to pound on anybody. When Mr. Puri, our master of most of us, many of us here, he passed away on 23rd December. There's a lot of misunderstanding and confusion, and that's misunderstanding and confusion still exists until today. One of the reasons for this, because the organization, there was no will left with organization. Normally what happens in a situation like that, if there's no written will, there will be verbal will. In that case, it will have to be like a president of organization or Isha at the time, because he was the governing body of Isha. And he was also notified right away that Mr. Puri passed away. So it was his responsibility to act and continue. This did not happen. And the reason for it did not happen because organization didn't know what to do. They have no specific directions except that they will have a meeting and someone is going to be voted chairman by the board of directors and so forth and so forth in the future, but they had nothing to really to go by. And this is reflected in official letter from the president at the time. Later on, President Visha officially resigned. Let's call it resign. And new body of governance organization was voted in, and new president and new chairman and so forth. But please understand something very interesting. Nobody really knew what's going on and who is who, and with some exceptions, who will be who is the successor of Mr. Puri. They had no idea. In that sense, except some arrangements made by Mr. Puri in respect to Dera and this and that. So after Mr. Puri, after 23rd of December, I was contacted very, very fast by Chinese Sangha. I was contacted by Chinese Sangha because I had arrangements to go to China with Mr. Puri, and Mr. Puri had a specific mission for me. And that mission was never disclosed, and I'm not going to disclose what that mission was. But originally, we were supposed to go to China. So Mr. Puri contacted the president of Isha at the time, and Jonathan Rapkin. So I received the whole schedule and so forth, and all the details of the trip. Now we're supposed to accompany Mr. Puri, I and Grace on that trip, and the Noor supposed to go, and two other people. I don't want to disclose who they are, from the United States. So the plan at the time was to go to September 30 and ended on departure October 18 from Hong Kong. So me and Grace, we had the visas, passports, and everything. Tickets, all of it. We had everything arranged and to go with Mr. Puri. So even the tickets, you see, the tickets. So, and we're supposed to go to these different cities, Shanghai. We're supposed to fly to Shanghai, then we had a private arrangements to see Sister Fu. I was private, not for Sangat in China. That was just for a few of us. Then we're supposed to go to, if I read this correctly, I don't know Chinese really. Changsha, Zhuhai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong. And we're supposed to accompany Mr. Puri, like privately accompany Mr. Puri to all these places, travel with him, same airplane, same everything. So we had Eastern Airlines flights, China Eastern Airlines, and all this rest. We're supposed to travel this high-speed train in China. Anyway, to make the story short, this did not happen because of something happened. It had to be canceled. Hong Kong. I don't want to give you details or anything, but just said that. I don't want to say too much because this is we're not just us here, okay? This is some more people here listening. So we didn't go to China. We did go to India, which from India was October 21st. There's some other arrangements to November 3rd and so forth. schedule in India was Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, Delhi again, and so on. So we accompanied Mr. Puri privately. In other words, we would stay where he was staying generally and have a breakfast and or lunch or dinner with him after all this. We were as his personal guests. In other words, when we went to India, President of Asia notified Nippon, who was one of the organizers in India, to give us all the information, flights and everything else and so forth. And this is the whole story for the Sangha to learn. Many people in India do not know to today what really happened in India, what was going on. I have to decide if I want to speak about that. I will not reveal that at this time. Not when especially this is recorded, and I don't want to stir too many ripples. So we went to India with Mr. Puri, but after the China cancellation, Mr. Puri already made the plans to go to China and take me with him. And he has specific plans for me, which maybe Nick, Lena, and Pranay know something about. No, rest of you have any idea even what that is or was. Not in the Sangha organization, they have no idea. And I have letters, I have everything to support that. So the point I'm trying to make, because of the COVID and everything else, this never manifested, but this was the solid plan by Mr. Puri. He wanted me and Grace to go to China. Specifically, I had my own, let's leave it at that. I remember what he said in Cezary. They gonna like you in China, he said. They will. He was taking me to present to go to China and all that. They gonna like you in China. He was telling me this. You have blue eyes. You look different. You're tall and all that. They're gonna like you in China. Cezary, he said. So here are the plans for me. And if like I said, I don't even want to reveal you those plans because there's no point right now. Some things I will reveal during Bandara in December. Some things many things I haven't revealed. Many things. And they stay right now between Mr. Puri, Great Master, and I. And Grace knows all about it, of course. So that was the plan to go to China because originally Great Master also had the plans to do mission in China. If you don't know that, now you do. Hazur Baba Savansen, excuse me. And actually, when we were in Delhi, there was like quite a few people from China, including Sangyutong and this other lady, this other guy, this lot of Satsangis. And I was actually instructing them about master trip to China and that I'm going with master and they're supposed to get everything ready. And they were promised, they take care of all of this and Cezary this, and they were very accommodating at the time. Even I explained what master would like to eat and his diet and everything and all the rest. But that was the plan. Mr. Puri had the plan for me to go to China and Grace. And then he passed away, so it did not manifest. And I have pictures from Delhi and all this with all these people from China, many of them and so on. When Master passed away, I received a call from Sangyutong on, I believe it was a WhatsApp. So there was a lot of things going on, and I was told that the people who were in charge of Sangha or part of the Sangha in China, I know the whole story, how the Sangha divided in China, who was who they communicated with who, and how they split and these individualities. Master explained all that to me. So my understanding was he wanted me to also be into that. And my only concern was I'm not sure I want to. They're gonna let us out of China, that was a concern. Not the authorities, but people, because they were very demanding. If you know the story about monks and burning the fingers and what they said, I know all the story. So did not happen. So I was contacted by these reps for China. I was told we have 100 people waiting for initiation. And I was told, well, you were so close to the master. They knew because from India they could, deduct that. I always try to keep a low profile, especially in the US for many years. Nobody knew really had the idea. So, but over there, it was a kind of official. They knew about the plans of the Mr. Puri's plans, and that I supposed to go and engage with him. I don't know who else, maybe Nurs. So I don't know anyone else actually. Joining the entourage, that was very, very specific. So one of the questions which came up was that, are you recording this, Nick?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, just keep recording. I just need to know. So one of the questions which came up is that the Chinese people from China, they contacted Isha, they could not get any answer. So that was the situation for a month, 2 or so. Because the organization didn't know anything really. They didn't know. They really didn't know. It's not like there was their fault. So down the road, they had to come up with some collage of masters' videos and everything for them, and all these claims, whoever. So the complaint was that they did not get any information from Isha USA, what's going to happen, who is the successor, who is that, and so she asked. I was asked, well, you were so close with the master, it was his friend. And do you know what's going on and who is the next master? And I said, yes, I do. And this is like January. I said, yes, I do. And I give explanation. I told them as much as I could. But this was not just one conversation. There's more than just one conversation. I mean, like we're having now, only through WhatsApp. We had like a visual and verbal conversation, at least one, maybe more. And I said as much as I could. But the demand came to me, we need to know who that is. Give us a name, he or she. That was they demanded from me that. So that's something I could not say. I could not tell them the name. I said my answer to them was, that's for me to know and you to find out. That was my answer. So these are the people responsible for many people in China. I know when we planned to go with the master, and in one town there was just like 1,000 people waiting. I asked the guy, well, how big is the town? And he said 37 million people. I said, wow, you're talking about totally different world. And that was just the one stop. But at the time in January, I was told, well, there's 100 people waiting here for initiation. And I said, okay. And then they invited me to, why don't you come to China? And I think they asked me twice. Because of everything else, I said no, in that sense. Not like I said, no, I'm never going to come into China. But because of the COVID and restriction and everything else, it was not even possible for me to go because so many things. And but the man was who is it? Who is the successor of Mr. Puri? So my understanding is that I told them about there's a Sangat there Abhyas in India, there's another master some Gurinder Sindel they can. So after that I was never I tried to explain and give them as much information so they can actually discover what is really going on. And I was really as forward as I could. But I also have my own specific instructions and things I can say or things I cannot say. I was, like I said before, I was the confidant of Mr. Puri. Now you can imagine what that means. I mean, that means Mr. Puri will share with me stuff he never even shared with ever, anywhere. Not in Singapore, not in anywhere, not in US or Canada, anywhere. This was a very confidential stuff. So as far as I'm concerned, I was the only one. And actually, I do know I was the only one. And Grace also know whatever I do. So there are constrictions, what I could say. But it never manifested, and I was kind of why this never manifested is because of not because of what I said or didn't say, is because of what happened in China. People in charge of Sangat, they have a responsibility to recognize this and that, because like I always say, when you're in a position like that, this is a huge responsibility. You may be responsible, decisions someone may take. They're responsible maybe for hundreds of other people. There are hundreds of people who never got initiated in China. I mean, I'm just speculating at this point because no one is in contact with me from that organization. And Mr. Puri explained to me what was happening in China. I haven't tell you just nothing really officially here, but I knew what was going on and the different situation because I knew what Mr. Puri received, letters or whatever, or requests or demands. So it is what it is. Now it's almost a year and a half later, and people in China are stuck where they been in the beginning, because there is no master in the organization to give you initiations. I'm not aware of any master anywhere as far as the Isha organization or these other organizations from Thailand or in England. I cannot verify anyone who is actually. I'm not judging anybody. Maybe I'm just not spiritually inclined to know. What do I know? Do I know the answers to these questions? Yes, I do. I know exactly who is who and who is not, and so forth. But I'm not in position to speak about that. So it is kind of a sad story. Set and a good story, set for China, good for me, because I'm in Arizona and I'm enjoying to be in Sedona, Arizona, and still continue my seva to the master. So now what's happening in China, my assumption is I do not follow that. My assumption will be that they probably got with organization or whatever is going on. I also know that there were always people in China, they were not, I'm talking about Sangat. I'm not talking about political issues or what happened there, or the lawyer or something about, none of that, okay? What happened to Mr. Puri and so on. I'm just speaking strictly about Samgat in China. And I met maybe 10 or 20 people personally. Whoever was in India, I met them. So this is a very interesting situation because with all the restrictions and everything else is going on. So I do not follow on that. It is what it is. We all had the best intentions. So was the master. Mr. Puri had the best intention. So how will this develop? If I went to Mr. Puri, didn't leave us on December 23rd that year, and the restrictions were kind of maybe be lower. We could travel to China. Of course, if he will go to China, I definitely will go with him. No matter what it will take, I will go with him to China. So with grace. So today we are where we are. I'd like to wish everyone there, China, the Sangat or whatever this situation now. I wish them the best. And this is very sad because Mr. Puri really did have a plan to go there. And I think it was like 2 years he didn't go and they were demanding, these monks, they would burn the fingers. They would say, we're going to start cutting them. And I mean, it's just, they have their own scrolls and all this is a story for a satsang for another hour just itself, what was happening. Mr. Puri was sharing all this with us. One thing I learned, every country has a different mentality. A little bit, and some people will just when they deal with the perfect living master, they actually will demand of him, make demands, and they will say, if you're not going to meet those demands, if you're not going to come over here every year or something, we will do this or that. So that's a totally different. But we all brothers and sisters. I personally regard Samgat in China very dear to me because it was very dear to the master, to my master and to their master, those who were initiated by Mr. Puri. How this is going to develop, do I have idea how this is going to develop? I do. But please understand that the things which happened in the past, they cannot just be reversed in that sense. What happened, it did happen. Mr. Puri had the plans to go there and had the plans to establish something there, which you may have idea after what I told you or not, in that sense. But we definitely had the plans to go to China. Master, Grace, and I don't know who else will go except the news at that time. And I have his own writings to me. I mean, he will explain that. Let's wait, let's go there, and something like that. But I also had the plans for us to go to other places. There was a place of Australia, so probably Australia will be. He will catch in Australia on his way there. That also did not happen because Master passed away.
Poland.
Also Poland and some other countries. He was planning to go to Turkey, to Istanbul for the wedding. This is the wedding of that, from that family he speaks about. They were looking for, Master was great, Master was looking for this person, and that was the family on the way from Turkey. He's supposed to be like 3 days in Warsaw. A lot of plans did.
From Poland to Sweden.
And then, what was Sweden? Master spent quite a long time in Sweden because that's where he had his teeth done. Mr. Puri had implants. So some of you know, at that age is very difficult to find someone who will, at the age, let's say 90s, you know, do implants because of the age restrictions and so forth. Immune system. So there was this gentleman. I met him personally. I met all of them in that sense, so personally. That's what happened. And he's supposed to afterwards go for checkup. I'm just giving you just a little pieces of the stories, which are huge. I mean, we'll be talking tomorrow morning. If I really want to share the stories, different stories. I understand everyone else has a story with the master, and some people will have a 5 dinners or lunches, and 10 they will write the book about the master. But please understand that to really know Mr. Puri life and everything like that, that's only very few people alive. Who knows? Very few people still alive who really know, outside of immediate people that are the master. Anyway, so that is that as far as the China goes. Great Master had the plans to have a mission in China, but because of what happened in those years, you know, up to 1940s, you know, there was a lot of, not the point to talk about this, but he could not go for various reasons. And Mr. Puri was following on that with China, following the march of the Great Master, Hazur Baba Savas. And he explained that to me personally. I also shared this with this Sangyutam and some of this information. They were surprised they didn't know that. I told them, yes, that was the Great Master plan originally too. He could not be realized for other reasons. Just like there were reasons between some things change between India and Pakistan and partition first and this later. You know, so there's a lot of different issues going between the countries and within the country of India, and part of the Pakistan became Pakistan. As you know, many of these masters, they were born on the Pakistan side today, which is in Pakistan, and then it was part of India. And Mr. Puri's story is incredibly interesting. He had to leave everything, all his belongings and so forth, maybe for no one's satsang. So I wish, I'm very grateful to whoever is, I respect the secrecy because I know other reasons, and please understand, I know who you are in that sense, or who you are not. So to me, in that sense, so that's okay. Normally, I require someone to show the face. I like to know who I am speaking to, and the reasons for that. I like to see someone with facial features, and that's why when some people, when I met some people, they may say, when I look at them, I look kind of above the eyes here. I look at, so they may say, why is this guy looking at me like that? Yeah, I mean, where is he? So it's good to know how you look. It's good to know how I look. And I'm not the person who constantly speak about love, you know, like the song in the Beatles song. I'm not that type of personality. I take unconditional love very seriously. In other words, when you give me a word through the unconditional love, this is like written in stone for me. And when I say something to someone, I look at it that way. Ishwar Puri Sandmat, if anything we own, we owe ourselves honesty and truth. There's no point of pretending within this group or Ishwar Puri Sandmat. When I speak to you, I actually speak from the real experience. I don't have to make stuff up or lie to you. or present myself, oh, I'm higher than you, I know this and that. No, we are all, how do I describe? No matter what, we are all same group of souls. When we go to the Asa, we're still hanging out with each other, okay? Another way, I'm trying to give you a metaphor. We kind of bunch of, most of you here, you here not just to get some information, or trying to get your way out of heaven or to heaven, but we just like each other in that sense. So when we came up with the mission of Ishwar Puri Sant Mat, we all seeking ultimate truth. We all the seekers, with the exception that I said tremendous satsang that the only difference maybe between you and I is that I am not a seeker. I do not seek. I'm not seeking, and what I'm not saying I did not seek in the past in that sense, but I'm not a seeker right now. And but I can understand how we can be a seekers. This whole concept. So unless someone wants me to explain more about China and more about this, what's happening, and so forth and so forth, I can say a few more things, but I will go to the next. I had someone wrote to here. I don't give a names, by the way. I consider this private. Someone has a question, this and that. So I don't give a names. All this correspondence between someone and Ishwar Puri Sant Mat is a private. And also, if someone sent an email to me, just to me, a cell phone, I know the Pranay and Nick, they don't go into that email or something like that. But there's no anyone else has a password to that. So someone wants to contact me like this specifically, you can write just to me, and that will be just between you and I. So let me get this other question. There was another question about the Kundalini yoga, but Pranay asked Pranay to answer that, and the person got the answer, which I agree with. We do not practice, by the way, Kundalini yoga and Sutra yoga as we do now. I'm not talking about 400 years ago, I'm talking about now. I got quite a few messages. Some of this I cannot bring during this satsang questions. They are too private, and they will be cause too much ripples in the sangha if I answer them, actually. Okay, who is Ishvar's G successor? This question I already answered through quite a few satsangs. I know it's on and off I will speak about the subject, especially about the beginning. I will speak that perfectly we master how they name successor. And generally, if you ask someone based on some writings, even what's said by Mr. Puri and so forth, there's a lot of misunderstanding about that. They will say, well, just anybody can be a master, or they will say Mr. Puri did not name successor, which is a specific process. So in that case, anybody can claim, oh, I'm the master, I'm this, Mr. Puri told me in the hallway, or you're gonna this and that, or they will say, well, I'm on the parking lane and master will give me a twisty and say, well, you're gonna be a master or something like that. So there are tons of people making all these different claims. Please understand, when master addresses you, perfect living master, he addresses you from your own state of consciousness. So let's say let's assume master told someone, you're gonna be a master, you're gonna be initiating people. This has to be taken in right content, because someone could be at the level of the astral level, and they can give you initiation. They can give you astral initiation. It's not if they real the guru master from that region. Please also understand that to be the master from the Trikuti or causal region, that is the very high state of consciousness, and very few people will reach that. Most of us have idea that anybody, the philosopher's stone, okay, it's easy to say, but to really be philosopher's stone, I haven't met a single person who know what that really is or means. They even have no idea what that means. The only person I ever met in my life who knows what that means is Mr. Puri. And only other person I met in my life, personally, or heard about, met is Grace. She knows what that is. Those are only two people in my whole life I met personally who really know what that is. Now, I'm not making claim that there is no someone somewhere around who does know, because there's a lot of different masters, different gurus, a lot of people giving you blessing of Nam, or Namdan initiation, and so forth and so forth. Usually this doesn't happen like in the first year. So if somebody just comes up to start giving initiations like in the first year, that's kind of, that's very soon. Master just left on December 23rd, and someone will start giving initiation on the first bandara and stuff like that. So the second year, maybe, but even that is. And if you really want to find out more information about that, actually, you can follow up to this Dera Baba Bhagat Singh, Taran, because there's some writings about these masters, quite a few of them, and how this Namdan is. They actually, this information there, how this number is, Namdan is go from one master to the other master. There's a process there. So anyone who just wake up and say, well, I'm the master, I had the 10 lunches with master, and he wrote something on the napkin for me, or this or that, this is not how it works. It just doesn't work. This is not the process. This process takes lifetimes. Please understand, this process takes lifetimes. So it is all in that sense predestined. So let's say in this question, did Mr. Puri left a successor? Yes, he did. He did. And I'm not saying here anything I haven't said before. And I stand 100% wherever I'm saying, please, because my neck is on the line. How do I know? Because I was there. I witnessed this myself, personally. Not I had a dream, my master came to me and told me this and that. I witnessed this person, and this is not the process of 1 or 2 days. So, and this happened in Nevada in the first week of 2020. So this is a very specific process, which I personally witnessed. So did Grace. She knows. So that's how I can say. I'm not giving you some mumbo jumbo story here. But please understand that from the people who were there on and off, there was no one from organization. No one. No single person from India organization was there. Not single person from Asia, USA was there. Not single person from Sisha was there. Not single person from the Asia or whatever organization, I forgot the name, something was there. or from this UK organization was there. None of them. Diane was not there. No, no one was there or even invited. And I don't mean this in a negative way. It's just the way this worked out. There were some people who, you know, there's some other people on and off, but not even, how should I explain this to you? How should I explain this to you that me and Grace are not the only alive aware of many different things. I don't know how else to explain to you. And this was solidified after Master passed away. Now, who that is, he or she, is it a man, is it a woman, or is it man and a woman? That is, my answer to that is always, that's for me to know and you to find out. So I'm trying to answer this question because it's been already a year and a half or so. But that's as direct I can give you the answer to this. And there's so much more to it.
Pranay, he just wrote that Nathan would like to speak, and one of the Chinese lady wants to speak.
I just got a message from Pranay. By the way, I will end this question. If you think I released everything to you during last year and a half, that may or may not be the full story. I have to be very careful things I say and very careful what I post on the website, anything like that. But I put this way, everything I told you so far is 100% true. Like I said, need the grace on I have to make a story. We don't have to make up stories. And we know, I'm not trying to convince anyone or anything. Okay, so how do you want to handle this, Pranay? Is this going to be verbally expressed, or this is going to be some message sent to you, and you're going to ask me?
From my understanding, this can be verbally expressed too.
So it's up to them.
Yeah.
How they want to address this question. I try to answer as much as I can. If there's something I cannot answer today, and let's say I know the answer to that, but I cannot say it today, I will not answer that question if I don't have a permission of my master. Because who am I to really question that? Go ahead.
Is it okay for one to talk to their future PLM and practice devotion to he or she?
Future PLM, what does that mean? How do you know who is the PLM? To really know who is the PLM, you have to be PLM yourself. Anybody who tells you otherwise, it's not possible. But let's say someone is pulled to this or that person for whatever reason, spiritual reason. This is a very serious subject. So if that person is, okay, let me answer this generally, I'm not part of this answer, I'm not the master. But let me answer this generally. So let's say there's someone who has a spiritual pull to the other person. And the real show is within. I can tell you one thing. The real show is way within. So when these masters when you face these masters or perfect living masters, they are aware of that show way high within. You are not. So you can be standing in front of the master, and the master, he is, and you are not. I don't mean you specifically, I'm speaking in general terms. And the master will say, okay, this and that, and then he will say, you see. Why can't he say that? Because he sees the show. So, and there's a concept, of course, that each of these masters have his own list. They call it this list of the souls. Let's call it the list of the souls they're responsible for. So if someone is on that list of that master, then he's responsible for that person or soul, call it soul. If someone is not on that list, now he may guide that person. There's a different kind of. Now, if I tell you how this really works, I will reveal too much, because most people think the masters, they come to this world with the karma and the list of souls and all that. And so this is general concept, and this is how these masters are explaining that. Well, let me tell you that not many really know how that works. So to really know how that works, you have to be a master. But if you pull to someone, and I mean kind of unconditional love, not by the physical futures, okay? Not by necessarily by his physical or her futures, not that kind of pull. So this will work out as long as it works out within. Now, can we make a demand on the master? So let's say we accept someone as a master. Can we demand that from the master? That's another subject for the satsang. But you may have two people. Let's say you may have two people. One person will have a pull by this master and feel all that, and the other person will not. The other person may have a pull to some other master. Now the question is, can you get out of this trash can without the master, so to speak? That is my experience is not possible. And I'm reflecting on that because I myself didn't think I need to be initiated. I went to a first interview with my master, and I didn't think I need the initiation. And he said, yes, you have, do I have to be initiated? Yes, you do. So this is this process. Now the question initiation, there's initiation and there's initiation. There could be a master who can initiate you to the astral level and claim, oh, I'm operating from the anami. Okay, I mean, it's, anybody who can, I mean, I can give you anami initiations. I don't want, this is not even possible. And people who can barely even be aware of the astral region, they may say, oh, I'm existing alaka, agam, and anami. I have a 24 hours experience of that. I'm not making this stuff up because I was told this privately too. So I said, okay, what do I know? But I also know that most of us can barely be aware of astral and causal. That's like a few people can. I mean, this is very high state of consciousness. If anybody aware of astral and how this can be verified, they will never lie. They will never lie to other person, never, about anything. So nobody can lie to the master. Like I said, I'm not making any claim that I'm the master, but I spend enough time with the master, and that I can speak from my own experience. And this is as much I can. Is the time? Yes, they may take time. You may be attracted to someone, and you say, "Well, I'm ready," but that person, call that person him or her master. He may tell you no. I mean, this is not the permanent no. This is just a temporary no. Maybe if you're on that list, because first we need to take the mind and to the very specific level, which can accept this path. To be on this path, you have to be, you or I or anybody has to be in the very stage of mind. And then there comes initiation, and after that, there's some development keep going. Now, how after initiation and whatever the type of initiation you get, that's another story. Some people were defined, I mean, speak against the master. They will get initiated by one master, and then they will leave that master or deny that master for the different master. Please understand that my advice to anyone always was in Ishwar Puri Sanman. Let's say if you met Mr. Puri and you were initiated by Mr. Puri, my advice was stop right there. Don't try to be initiated by any other master, because the last master who initiates you in Surya Shabd Yoga or Sanmat is your master. So this is very problematic, because this is actually, I was thinking about last few days, things I hear, claims people make. So let's say someone makes a claim they were initiated by Mr. Puri, and they were told by Mr. Puri this and that, but that's between that person and Mr. Puri. And then they will say, well, I was initiated by the other master like a year later. And I won't tell the name of the other master, because some of you will be able to put this together. So let's say the situation like that, someone was initiated by Mr. Puri, and then he or she will be initiated by the other master, who is a master in Sant Mat. So the last master becomes that person's master. So when you do dhyan and all the rest, this is your master. But sometimes the person who does that now, they want to come back to Mr. Puri and start speaking in the name of Mr. Puri, or maybe initiating in the name of Mr. Puri. Please understand that this is not how it works. You made the choice. You made the choice to, I won't say deny Mr. Puri initiation, but for some reason, either there was enough for the person, or the ego will tell the person, well, the more initiation, the more masters you have, the better you are, the more impressive you're going to sound in front of the other people. No, that is not how it works. Your master is always the last one who initiated you. And this is one of the reasons I always said before, that whoever was initiated by Mr. Puri, you're very fortunate. And I don't want to go more into this subject, because that will disturb too many people. So I just stop at that. But this process, when you notice by the master, this could be maybe a longer process. I know personally, I knew people who were asking master for 8 years or so, Mr. Puri for initiation, and he would deny that. I know people who are doing everything now in the name of the master, and the master never gave them initiation, Mr. Puri. If I tell you the rest, you will kind of be able to put together. But Master will said no to those people. And those people are just like on the echelon of Mr. Puri's, speaking, doing everything in his name. But actually, they were never initiated by Mr. Puri, even if they may ask quite a few times, and Mr. Puri said no. And there are reasons for that, but this is between the person and the master. In this case, between that person and Mr. Puri. And I know also that there are people who Mr. Puri will say no. They will go to Mr. Puri, ask for initiation. And the simple reason for that, it could be that they were already initiated. I know many people who were initiated by Sankirpal Sen. Mr. Puri was so we don't need to be initiated. Maybe the case with other masters of Chan Sen, Jagat Sen. So that's all. This is very individual. This is very individual between the specific master and the disciple. Now, there's other concept that they will say, well, they all come from the same source. So they're all the same. Doesn't matter who you go, who initiates you, and so forth and so forth. Yes, we all go from the same source, but this concept is misunderstood. That doesn't mean that every master is just like every other master, has this power of Namdan, of the highest, the real power of Namdan. There may be masters who can only initiate you to the. My understanding is no master can initiate you to the region beyond where they are. I mean, there could be some guru saying, well, I'm in the Sachkhand or Anami, operating from Anami, But if they reside, let's put it this way, in the consciousness on the region of Chukuti, that's they cannot take it beyond that, beyond where they are themselves. So the perfect living master, they are very rare, really. Most people don't realize how rare they are.